doing well and you can hear me. I'm making some cool new videos for my channel today, and I'm stuck in export hell. It's just taking a long time to export some of these videos that I've been working on, so I figured I should go live while I'm waiting. Just want to check in with you guys. I know obviously holidays are upon us, so many of you are probably with your families, so I definitely don't want to interrupt too much of that quality time. It's really important stuff. But whenever you watch this, if you watch it live, if you watch it afterwards, whenever you do, I'm really looking to get some feedback from you guys on what you want from me, basically, in 2023. The new year is upon us, of course, coming up soon, and I'm sort of thinking about if I want to, I mean, I really do want to invigorate my channel with some fresh content, fresh ideas. I have a lot of ideas, a lot of potential things I can do, but I really want to make sure that I'm, number one, being relevant to you guys and not just sort of wandering off into my own ideas and then realizing halfway through the year that you guys weren't interested in any of the stuff that I was doing. And then also, I really want to make sure that this year I don't neglect the newbies, the people that have never heard of sync licensing, that are sort of stumbling about kind of on YouTube looking for ways to monetize their music and maybe come across my channel. I want to make sure that I'm not sort of speaking above them and using terms and language and concepts that maybe are a little bit different for them. I want to make sure that everything that I'm saying is pretty user friendly, if that makes sense too. So it's a balance, it's a delicate balance, because I definitely know that you guys, any of you guys watching this video right now, probably know enough about sync licensing that you're probably no longer a newbie. But you got to remember that at some point you were that newbie, right? At some point you were that person stumbling along, looking into whatever you were looking into online and found out, hey, what's this sync licensing stuff all about? And I hope that my channel was part of that. Let me make this a little bit brighter there. It'll probably look a little better now. I hope I was a part of that, to give you that sort of concept that this is something that you can do, and to let you know it's not really that hard, actually. It's really pretty common sense. It's pretty easy, actually, to get into this side of the business and do well. So it's not really a hard thing to get into. It's a hard thing to stay in. It's a hard thing to remain active in, and to obviously go through the multiple years it takes, obviously, to get to full-time income. That's the hard part. But getting started, understanding the industry, understanding the terms, that's actually not too hard. And I'm trying to make it as user-friendly as possible, so that literally a first grader could stumble across my videos and go like, oh, I could see myself doing that. That's really as easy as I want to make it. And I think sometimes I don't do that very well, because I think sometimes I'm making these videos assuming that most people know what I'm talking about. But I do think that a lot of times, like even saying the word, music library, a lot of people might be thinking like, what? Like, you mean like an actual public library where there's a lot of music? Like, terms like that actually can confuse people when they've never been exposed to sync licensing. So many times I need to remind myself to go back to the basics and go to the elementary level. So I'm going to try to do a little bit of both in 2023. But for all of you guys that are watching this, and you guys are fairly familiar, I think, with most of the fundamentals of sync licensing, what do you want more of? Do you want me to just interview more people, interview more music library owners, more producers, more composers, give you maybe more, stories about my career, about things that I've learned along the way? Sometimes story time is kind of entertaining, I can tell you guys about times I've missed out on opportunities, got rejected, got passed over for custom gigs. Also the times that I've succeeded. Sometimes I've gotten some really great sync fees, some great royalties. So I can kind of tell you those stories to sort of maybe help you. I know a lot of you guys need continuous motivation. I know that's a big part of, I think, one of the points of value that I bring to this channel. So that could be something I focus on too, like just putting out constant motivational, inspirational videos to try to help you guys through the year. It's an isolating and hard business to be a part of. So I know that sometimes just somebody giving you some encouraging words can really make a difference when you don't feel like making music and you're not feeling like moving forward with it. Let me just check out some of the comments here. Let's see if I can actually see all this. Can I see them all? There we go. If I can go back. So, all right. D, what's going on? Wicked Melodies. All right. Always like stories and motivation. Cool. Learned so much because of it. Awesome. Appreciate that. Yeah, I want to keep doing that too. And I'm still learning too. Like the more actually, it's so funny. Like I thought I knew a lot about this business when I started this YouTube channel 6 years ago now. And it wasn't until I started interacting with all of you guys and you started asking me all these great questions that I was like, I don't know that, I don't know that, I don't know that. I realized how little I knew really about the industry as a whole. So I've actually learned probably more than all of you guys have, just because I've been sort of at the center of all these questions, all these great conversations happening, particularly in Sync Academy. That's where I get a lot of great, awesome. Hey, Samuel, thank you so much. Same to you. Happy holidays to all you guys. Merry Christmas if you guys celebrate it. Hey, Mark, what's up, buddy? Thank you so much, man. Same to you. Same to you and your family. Hope you guys are being doing well and able. I hope everybody here is able to take some time with your loved ones. It's really important, obviously, to do that. Yeah, 2023 event is going to be great. We're still working on that. I've actually gotten, one speaker confirmed with our contract with him. I'm waiting on the other ones. I should correct. I've only sent out the contract to 2 speakers. I know the other ones for sure are going to do it. I just need to get them signed up. But the 2 that I haven't interacted with so much, I'm making sure I'm getting them signed up for sure on paper. I'm going to get them first. Then I'll obviously get all the other ones that I know I've had a lot more interaction with. But yeah, it's definitely coming along. For those of you guys who don't know, we're going to be planning an in-person event for the first time in 2023. It will be probably most likely in June. It definitely will be happening in LA, and it's going to be near the LAX airport. But we don't have any of the specifics, the dates, any of that stuff, the location or the venue, because we don't know how many people are going to show up. We don't know how many tickets are going to be bought. So I have a lot of details to iron out there, but don't worry. I think January, February is when the pre-sale tickets are going to be offered, and they are going to definitely be offered to Sync Academy, Sync Edge, and Pro Feedback members only. So you guys do need to be a part of our sort of, in our community essentially to get access to the and they're going to be. I think I'm just going to offer them 50% off. So it's going to be like a massive, huge discount to do pre-sale tickets, because I need to get an idea on how many of you are actually going to show up in person, how many are going to prefer to do the virtual ticket. There'll be both of those options. How many want to be a part of a sort of a kind of a VIP dinner experience where I'm going to put together an opportunity for some of you guys that want to do it to actually interact with these library owners on a more one-on-one basis. I know that's kind of what a lot of you guys are looking for. So I need to see a sort of rough estimate in those pre-sale numbers to know how big of a venue I should book, what we should expect, what kind of accommodations we should have, how many hotel rooms, et cetera, et cetera. So once I get all those numbers together, then I can start putting some more fine details on and start setting some things in stone in terms of when it's going to be. And I'll do it as soon as I possibly can, because I know that, the earlier you guys can book your flights and your hotels, the cheaper stuff is. So I definitely want to get all those details ironed out by, I would say March 1st. I would think that would be my sort of rough deadline right now. I would want everything to be done by March 1st, and the event would be in early June. I think June 3rd and 4th is where I'm putting my eyes right now, but we still need to kind of figure that out. Anyways, back to the topic of this video. Again, I do want to get your guys' thoughts, insights, what you want to learn, what you want to get out of my channel. Everything that I tell you guys in terms of going through these libraries, making sure that you're useful to them, you're creating a service mindset. I want to do the same thing with you here on this channel. Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm constantly communicating with you and asking you what you need, what you are looking for, and what would be the most useful for you in your careers. I think still, if I have my finger on the pulse correctly, the vast majority of you are still not with a library yet. You're still working on your first couple of albums, or maybe you're still in the process of just learning how to create licensable music, getting better at your DAW, improving your producing, mixing, and mastering skills. Obviously, that's what we do in Sync Academy. That's the primary thing that we're teaching you guys. And I think at least 60 to 70% of you guys are in that bucket. I think most of you guys are still kind of waiting to feel ready to start submitting to music. I think there's probably 10 to 20% of you that have already, they're accepted to at least one library, and there's probably maybe a 10%, maybe 20% that are consistently working with libraries, and you've been doing that for many years. So, but I still think the vast majority of you from the polls that I put out on my channel are kind of still trying to build that confidence in yourself, trying to get that skill set up together where you feel like, all right, I'm ready to start submitting. So that's where my hunch is in terms of where I need to steer most of my content towards. To get you guys ready for that, to try to help you build up those skills, try to build up your confidence. A lot of it comes down to mindset stuff. It's really not about technical training. It's really not so much about how to use your DAW. Of course, having the skills, having the knowledge of how to create music and how to use your DAW and your plugins well is of course essential, very important. But It's not even a drop in the bucket compared to how your mindset is going to either sabotage you or help you succeed. So I want to make sure that I am kind of constantly going back and touching on those important topics about, are you internally self-sabotaging yourself? Are you internally giving yourself self-talk that is basically getting in the way of your own success? Because it's way more common than you guys imagine. The technical skills for how to create licensable music is actually not the hard part of this business. I've coached hundreds, probably thousands at this point, of producers on how to get their music better, how to produce, how to mix, how to master. And of course, now with pro feedback, I can actually hear it, like literally from month to month. I can hear the improvements. So that stuff is actually not that hard. If that's the part that's been daunting to you or really intimidating, please take comfort in the fact that that stuff is easy. Learning the technical details of the business, how to succeed, royalties, business contracts, all this technical knowledge is really actually not that difficult to overcome and to how to do. It takes work. You got to consistently get there, but pretty much anybody can do that, as long as the mindset, as the positive outlook, as the positive self-talk is running in the background of all of that, okay? Because you can throw and cram all this technical knowledge at your brain, but if you have sort of a self-sabotage system running in it, it's basically like a corrupt, OS system. You've got a corrupt software system that's destroying all of this knowledge, because as soon as you get better and as soon as you start progressing, you will start to self-doubt, or you'll sabotage, or you'll get in your own way, or you'll start to just fill your head up with a whole bunch of, well, what if this bad thing happens? What if that bad thing happens? And maybe I shouldn't get started. And oh my gosh, I got rejected again and again and again. And I shouldn't go forward with this. It's always what gets producers bailing out of this business. It's not that they don't know how to produce music or they can't create licensable music. That's never actually why people bail out. They always bail out. And I hear this from all the emails that I've gotten over the years, is because they just feel defeated, and that's it. It's just all actually up here, that their mindset just was not strong enough, essentially, to get through some of these obstacles and these points of rejection and these points of uncertainty, because it's going to hit you no matter where you are. So I want to make sure that we're not neglecting the important stuff, which I believe is your mindset and how you're thinking about your career. Let me go back to some of these chats here. Sound folder, great content. I've learned so much. Keen to learn about how to market myself to attract more syncs, or should I market myself as an artist or just pitch to libraries? Okay, yeah, we can definitely talk about approaching libraries as an artist. That's definitely one of these things that's kind of becoming more and more popular in the business. Zell, I would like as an artist aspect to sync song release to get on TV and film, and I haven't found anything really good on it. Is it something that I could be added to Sync Academy? So you're talking about if you're an artist releasing your music, let's say out there to, Spotify or Apple Music or something like that. Basically, how do you get that? Sorry, I've got problems here. How do you get that? How do you get that music into a library's hands? Yeah, that would actually be a great set of tutorials, or at least one for sure to dedicate to, because I have a lot of people that come by my channel and going, hey, I'm an artist, can I do this too? And it's always like, well, kind of. You can if it's non-exclusive, of course, right? You go to a non-exclusive library all day long. It's non-exclusive. You can do what else you want. But, if with exclusive libraries, it's tricky. It's 50-50. Some of the times they'll say, cool, no problem. Your music, as long as we get to exclusively pitch your music to the sync world, you're good. You can keep doing your Spotify, your touring, you're selling your music, streaming your music, whatever you want to do. But just keep the syncs to us. That could be one opportunity. One option. But some libraries will say, no, we don't want your music anywhere online. You've got to exclusively allow us to distribute your music to the world. And that, for a lot of artists, is a deal killer, because they really want their music out there. They want to, sort of get more, whatever. They want the public to hear the music, not necessarily interested in just the sync world. So, but yeah, I think a couple more just dedicated videos on that very topic to talk about those considerations would certainly be very helpful. So. All right, Gergo or Gerjo, a breakdown of a track in every month would be a good sense, would be good with different sync genres every time. That's a great idea. I was almost thinking about too, going through actual libraries and taking their music and actually breaking down why I think their music is very high quality and licensable. I've done that with my own tracks in previous years. I haven't done it recently, but I'm honestly kind of like wanting to get out of my own head, out of my own world, and constantly throwing you guys my music and my royalties and my stuff. I kind of want to branch out. I want to show other music, talk to other producers, other composers, and maybe going onto their music, or maybe like that, like just going to a library's website, pulling up what I think is a really high quality licensable track and explaining to you guys why it's licensable. That's definitely a great idea for sure. Arco, hey, how you doing, man? All right, you're releasing holiday music, cool. OT Mills, I'm 52 and ready to make sync your retirement job. How long would a transition take? Well, I've always talked to you guys about a 2 to 5 year timeline in terms of starting to see income that can start to pay off your bills. Doesn't mean it's going to pay all of your bills, but I think 2 to 5 years is what you should realistically expect, because it just takes a long time for those royalties to kick in. If you're not aware, it takes 9 to 12 months for you to see royalties from when you get a placement. And that's not including all the time for the library to accept your music, get it on their website. It's a slow moving business, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So yeah, if you're looking for retirement, 2 to 5 years is where you should be placing your expectations for income that can at least start to feel like, hey, it's sustainable. I can pay at least some of my bills, maybe all of them, depending on where you live, right? That's why I can't say it'll definitely pay all your bills, because if you're in Kansas, probably could pay a lot of them, if not all of them. New York, California, depending on where you're at, right, in a big city, probably not. So it kind of depends on your lifestyle, what your expenses look at. Everybody's got a different situation there, right? Arco, you're setting up your own store to sell your own music. Cool, man. Good luck with that. D, you prefer listening to my experience. Okay, good to know. North Carolina, so it's not bad. Yeah, so if your expenses aren't so bad, you got pretty reasonable monthly expenses, then maybe 2 to 5 years, you could see actually most of those being paid off, maybe all of them. So I've told you guys many times that it's not always just looking at the one side of the equation, which is just like, well, how much can I make, right? I want to make a bunch of money, so I'll just think about that. But if you can reduce a lot of your monthly expenses in your lifestyle, you can probably get to that full-time income much quicker, right? So that's kind of one of the things I had to do early in my sync licensing career, because yeah, if you're in London, by the way, yeah, probably going to take a lot longer than 2 to 5 years. Again, depending on your lifestyle, though. If you're renting a room out of a house and you don't pay much, then yeah, maybe not so much, but everybody's got their own situation. When I was in my early journey, I remember being very mindful of that, of going like, okay, well, I can have a more expensive, more lavish lifestyle. And that means, though, that I might have to go get a job, right? Because if my sync licensing income can't cover these bills that I have, then this is just not going to be something I can do full time. I'll have to spend more time either doing some other, freelance work, which I did some video work at the time, or unfortunately, I might have to go get a day job, which is basically like the last thing I ever wanted to do again. I was basically, I made an agreement with myself. I didn't care what I did, as long as I worked for myself, was cool about that. I didn't need to worry about, I couldn't go back and say good morning to a boss or a manager that I didn't respect. So that was the deal I made with myself. I didn't care what I did as long as I worked for myself. But I constantly was, making sure that I kept my, expenses low. Probably never ate out, never went out to a restaurant pretty much. Always was, getting groceries, trying to make my budget kind of stretch out longer. Didn't have any other subscriptions other than, I think I had an internet subscription just so I could, be on the internet. That's essentially all I had, but no cable, no Netflix, no nothing else. I was not into video games. So I basically cut out almost every other type of entertainment that I had. My entertainment was basically YouTube or whatever I could find online that was kind of fun to entertain, like whatever. But it wasn't but I didn't have any sort of feeling of like, all right, I need to go to the movies, or I need to go play video games, or I need to go do this. Or even if I wanted to, that was always a second consideration of mine of like, well, if I do all of these other things and start adding up my expenses, the timeline for me to be able to do sync licensing full time just gets longer and longer and longer. So, and you'll find actually too, everybody's different, but I found myself a lot more just happy when I had less that I was, worried about. It was just more about the work, more about just getting excited about hustling, making music, building up my catalog. And I felt like this momentum of like, I'm building something, right? I'm like rolling up a snowball essentially, and it's small, but it's growing as time goes on. And sometimes it takes just years for you to finally see this kind of snowball effect come in, where the royalties start pouring in and the opportunities are there. So, but it's a long-term play, as you guys know. Missed a couple of the chats here. Let me go back. All right. Thomas Crane, thanks so much, man. I'm glad you enjoyed the content. Arco's asking a question about composing, how motifs are important in production music. Motifs, if I understand that correct, you're talking about kind of like a theme, something that sort of gets you I don't know, sort of a recognizable kind of a melody. Is that what you mean by motifs? It's very important for most licensable genres for sure. Yeah. OT saying, I've been mulling between sync and beat sales, loop pack sales. Looks like the beat sales is a faster track. If you've got an opportunity to do that, yeah, if you feel like you've got some way to create that income for yourself on a quicker basis, then yeah, that might be something you can do alongside yourself building up your sync licensing income. So I don't think that there is a either or. I do feel though that like with beat making, there obviously is that chance for passive income if you have repeat sales, right? So there's definitely something like that. But what I find is there's an exponential power of passive income. There's more power of passive income when you get a TV placement, because not only can your one track get placed on one TV show, okay, so this is just like one track getting placed on one TV show. This one TV show can go into syndication, air over and over and over again, and then it can go into different markets. It can go into different countries. So that one track with that one placement can go all around the world essentially, and I've seen that happen with my royalties. But now this single track can also get placed in this TV show, that TV show, this TV show, that TV show as well. You know, it can get placed in 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 different TV shows, one track. And each one of those 100 different placements can go into multiple markets, into syndication, into other countries. So you can see how this kind of like branching effect starts to happen in sync licensing. With beat sales, you can get that one track sold over and over and over again, but primarily it'll probably be in one market, probably the US market. I mean, maybe I guess you could say there could be some international sales as well. So I would say I'm a little bit ignorant on that side of the industry. Like, I don't know, you know, how much of that, I don't know. If you're working with maybe a website where you basically just you just upload your music and there's already a marketplace and people are buying it, you know, the one danger with that is, I've seen this with like Pond5 and sites like that, which is not necessarily like beat selling, but it's basically like the royalty free market. They came in and like basically slashed, like it was like a 50% cut or something like that of all of your income. So you're kind of at their mercy. So if they decide one day they're not being profitable enough, they might go bankrupt. They can just come in and start saying you're going to take less and less and less. And that's kind of the trend of a lot of those companies, is they're just taking more and more and more and giving you less and less and less. So I don't know, your whole income being in the hands of like one company that just says, we're gonna slash your income. To me, I don't want to be in that position. That's just my take. And then the other side of it is that if you don't want to work with one of those companies and you want to create your own website and do your own marketing, that's a whole full-time job, right? You got to SEO, you got to advertise, you got to go find clients, you got to deal with customer service, you have to make sure that they can get their assets, that you can take payments, process payments, deliver them their deliverables. You know, it's a full-time job basically to run a website like that. So it's less time for you to be making music and more time for you to becoming like a salesperson, a marketing expert, or a customer service rep. So if those things are not interesting to you, then you maybe don't want to go down that path. So again, everybody's got their own strengths, weaknesses, and things that they want to do and don't want to do. So just take that for what it's worth. Whoopsie. We're really getting out of control here. All right, let's get back to our chat. We had a couple of cool questions that I missed. In 2023, do you think we should go exclusive or non-exclusive with libraries? Well, I still primarily think if you're going to go with sync licensing, you still want to do TV film placements primarily, then exclusive libraries is still where you want to focus on. Non-exclusive, not necessarily. That would be better for, like we were talking about before, with your artist. If you're an artist and you want to primarily build up a fan base and get public notoriety, but you also want to have a little bit of exposure to the sync licensing market, maybe a non-exclusive library would be a good choice for you. What do I think about Broadjam, MDO? I don't know what that is, actually a taxi. I've talked about those many times. The issue I have with them, I think they can do some good things for people. I think some people like them in some ways. But what I don't think is necessary is any middleman companies in this industry saying, you know, you come to us and we'll send you the opportunities and you pitch through us and then we'll submit and forward on the tracks that we feel are the best or whatever they do, right? You just go right to the libraries and they'll give you the briefs, they'll give you the opportunities, and you can have a direct relationship with these companies. So it's much stronger and much better for you to create direct relationships than to always be relying upon a middleman company that's in between you and the client, which is going to be your music library. So everything that I teach you guys is about going and creating more direct relationships with these companies, so you're not reliant on middleman companies like that. The fewer people in between you and a library, the better, right? So let's make that number 0. So nobody's in between you and a library, so you can have direct personal relationships with them. So you're talking about in terms of motifs, you have a cinematic, ambient, documentary, soundscape. Yeah, if you're doing some more ambient music, you probably don't have to have as much of a motif. You do have to have some musical content, of course. I don't know if just getting away with putting pads in there is going to fly. Maybe if the library's cool with that, but a lot of times you will have to have some minimal amount of musical direction, even if it's just like 4 chords you're kind of repeating, or a little bit of a melody that kind of creeps in there, even if it's very slow and kind of subtle. Some sort of a musical piece would definitely be wise to add. Bitterman asking, I would love to hear about the jobs you can get working with music that is chosen from libraries. I'm interested in just being a part of the projects in some way with audio, music in general. So the jobs you can get working with the music that is chosen from libraries. I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you mean like actually editing music or sound design, or maybe you can clarify what you mean by that. Can I get in touch with you anyway? Yeah, you guys can always email me, jesse@syncmymusic.com. Comment below on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I am definitely available for you guys. Email me anytime. All right. Roush Sale. What up, Jesse? I just wanted to say thank you for all the content and info. I always find myself coming back to your channel, and I know I'll continue to do so in the future. Awesome. Glad to hear that. Hope to see you in 2023 as well. I see a lot of vocals on MDEIO. I'm not sure what they do, a lot of instrumental placements, but I'm not sure on that. Yeah, I gotta look into that. MDIIO. I should be probably aware of that, but I don't even know what that is. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to hop off here, let you guys get back to what you're getting to. But please do, like I said, let me know what you want from me in 2023. If some idea comes to you, come back to this video and post it as a comment below. This will be definitely a source of info I will take moving into the new year. So wish you guys all the best. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, whatever you're celebrating, however you're celebrating it. I hope you guys have a fantastic time with your friends and family, and I wish you all a very, very productive 2023, and I hope I can be a part of it in some way, whether big or small. We'll talk to you guys.